Denver.
American culture has become less hospitable to people of faith, Attorney General Jeff Sessions said on Monday, vowing that the Justice Department would protect people's religious freedom and convictions. This comes from the Associated Press. Sessions spoke at the Justice Department Summit on religious tolerance at a time when courts have been asked to balance anti-discrimination laws against the First Amendment's religious freedom guarantees. He also announced the creation of a Religious Liberty Task Force to implement Justice Department guidance on respecting and accommodating religious beliefs, including those of department employees. Conservative groups immediately praised Sessions for promising to protect deeply held religious convictions, though critics of the Trump administration have repeatedly voiced concerns that the Attorney General's stance undercuts LGBT rights and favors the rights of Christians over those of other faiths. Sessions, the country's chief law enforcement officer, warned of a, quote, dangerous movement that he said was eroding protections for religious Americans. He asserted that, quote, nuns are being forced to buy contraceptives, unquote, an apparent though not fully accurate reference to an Obama administration healthcare policy meant to ensure women covered by faith-based groups' health plans have access to cost-free contraceptives. Religious groups that challenged the policy argued it violated their beliefs. Stop right there. Mr. Obama, if you're listening now, please call into the show. I need you to explain something to me. Why do women have to have free contraceptives? I don't want to share too much information about my personal life, but I've never gotten free contraceptives in my life, and yet I've managed to take appropriate precautions. This is the way of liberals, of the Democrats. Free, 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 free. They don't have to pay for it, but you do. Now, as far as protecting the rights of those who are religious, I will run to the fore and protect the rights of any religion that doesn't want to cut people's heads off. And we are seeing a tremendous turn away from religion in the West in general, specifically in the United States of America. It's very troubling. The further you go from God, the closer you get to trouble. That's been the standard throughout human history. I commend Jeff Sessions, who has done a lousy job in prosecuting Hillary Clinton and should never have recused himself on the whole Russia deal. But I commend him here for going public, defending the rights of religious people, which, yes, are constantly under attack and subject to derision. It's Tuesday, and it's Real Truth. We'll be right back. All right, my friends, welcome. My name is Howard Real. The show is called Real Truth. Now, you know, I've been a very vocal advocate of building a wall on the southern border for a long time, and I believe that we need it to keep out the undesirables. And in this case, I don't mean illegal aliens. I mean, it'll keep Democrats out of office because opposing this is going to certainly cost them election victories. Here is Newt Gingrich on Fox and Friends this morning. Well, please God it is. Remember, the Democrats want two things above all else. They want more crime and they want higher taxes. If you keep those two things in mind, you'll never have to worry who to vote for again. Well, my friends, the case that the Democrats are making goes like this. Some of you will be murdered. Some of your daughters will be raped. Some of your young sons may be tortured, but that's okay because the gang members and other undesirables who are coming in will probably vote Democrat. And so in the Democrat thought process, they're willing to sacrifice you and your daughters and your sons so that they can regain power. That's the Democrat talking point.
If that's the case, the question...
It's a huge change over Democrat policies which don't work except to make America poorer, bury business under an avalanche of bureaucracy, rules, regulations, and fines. In short, the grown-ups are back in the White House now. Let's take a break. More Real Truth ahead. My friend, she's got a new book out sometime in the next week or two called Resistance is Futile. I intend to get a copy and read it cover to cover. I recommend you to. Here on the Howie Carr Show is Ann Coulter.
Yeah, you must be very happy that
friends, you know from past instances that quote-unquote shutting down the government doesn't amount to much. Certain departments shut down, certain checks don't go out, but mostly the government remains in place and the political ricochet is important. I think not only Trump's base, but also more people on the left than they would admit, love the fact that he doesn't give a rat's ass about the government and will shut it down in a minute in order to make Americans safer. Frankly, between you and me, we're seldom safer than when the government is not working.
Over the
And punishment should be meted out not only to these criminals, but to the politicians who allow them to come and stay in America. What's that you say, my friends? Yes, it was me several years ago, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, saying that on top of the economic and criminal problems that illegals bring with them, they're also bringing third world diseases either that we had not seen in this country in decades and decades and decades, or that we had never had here. So now they're bringing the disease of crime and the diseases themselves. I'll answer that question. Nancy Pelosi is a piece of garbage and always has been, but that's all that she is. Paul Ryan should know better. Paul Ryan does know better, and he still is in cahoots with pieces of trash like Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is an ignorant piece of garbage who belongs to a party of ignorant pieces of garbage. Paul Ryan is doing the lousy things he's doing in the Republican Party, which should know better and which says it stands for better. So Paul Ryan is the worst of the two. Now, my friends, think about the implications of this, all right? Think about it. This guy Crowley was the 4th-ranked Democrat in the country, so he had power and he had experience. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had been a waitress who didn't know very much about politics or about world affairs or about economics, but she's Latino and she's female, and so she won. That tells you what a portion, at least, of the electorate is up to. They don't care how smart you are, how informed you are, how much experience you've got. You've got to have the right skin color. You've got to have the right genitalia. Then they'll vote for you. Those are the kinds of ignoramuses who simply by voting are rotting away the undercarriage of this country. I think the blue wave already is a blue trickle. I think it's going to be another one of those situations where you remember, go back 2 years, every pundit, every genius, every big shot on TV, Trump will never win the Republican primaries. Then they had to say Trump will never become president. Now then they were saying Trump will crash the economy. So the experts, the big money people, they're either stupid or lying to America. Maybe they're just telling us what they want us to think. But the fact of the matter is, Trump is large and in charge. And he's making so many things better in this country. Remember when he used to say after a while, you're going to get tired of winning? Well, I'm not tired of it yet. But he has been winning and winning and winning and winning. And the only answer that the Democrats have is not other policies that would do better. They've got racism and they've got collusion. Racist, colluded. Both of which are utter nonsense and hogwash. And that is why there's going to be a red wave in November. We'll be right back. My friends, welcome back to Real Truth. If you're like me, there are a few things in life that make you happier, more fulfilled, more buoyant than watching liberals melt down, froth at the mouth, and wet their pants. It's called Trump derangement syndrome. I love it. Here's Tucker Carlson talking about it.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. Smallpox, the bubonic plague, the Spanish flu. Those are some of the many diseases that have changed the course of history over the last few thousand years. Here's a new one bound for the DSM, Trump derangement syndrome. It's particularly insidious illness because it doesn't merely affect individuals, but entire political parties, rendering them unrecognizable. Until about 20 minutes ago, for example, the Democrats saw themselves as the party of reason, resistant to superstition and mass hysteria. They were, as they often told you, the party that fought McCarthyism. Now, it's the party that engages in McCarthyism enthusiastically. Watch.
This is nothing short of treasonous because it is a betrayal of the nation. He is giving aid and comfort to the enemy.
I think Donald Trump is a fascist. I think everything he stands for is disgusting.
That is pure racism. And the president is cynically using that racism to appeal to his base.
Well, that's Don Lemon, who is black, and so he's talking about racism. He might as well have been talking about homophobia since he's also gay.
That is not what you see in a democracy. That is exactly what you see in an authoritarian regime.
This is Adam Schiff, who is a complete piece of garbage and a liar. This is Mad Maxine.
Today I say impeach 45!
Speaking of hysteria, Maxine Waters' report did not stop there. She urged her followers to hunt down and harass anybody tied to the Trump administration.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
Oh, and they obeyed, and as a result, this happened.
As you're deporting and imprisoning tens of thousands of people who come here seeking asylum in the United States.
Shame! Shame! Shame!
My friends, the main problem facing America is millions of morons like this, who not only don't know that illegal immigration is a crime to be worked against, to be solved. They don't know that illegal immigration hurts them and their loved ones and their children, but they're also obnoxious enough and brazen and callous enough to go out in public and harass people. These are the dead weight people. These are the garbage people. These are the Democrat voters. Not correct. Well, semi-correct. They'd like to help Trump, hurt Trump, but they'd really like to hurt Americans like you and me, who work hard, don't break the law, pay our taxes, and want nothing better than to enjoy life. They can't stand us because they're basically unhappy, unintelligent people, and so they rage. That's what's at the bottom of this.
Attack his employees and supporters.
My friends, this is what passes for intellectualism on the left. Morons going around with hammers, large hammers, pickaxes, and destroying Donald Trump's star on the sidewalk in Hollywood. This is liberal intellectualism.
That's how it started, but smashing the star did not cool the emotions of the Star Smashers. Now the Star is a venue for street fights.
I don't give a. What should I do?
Get out of my
face. What's deep right here?
Get out of my face. Get out of my face.
What's deep right here?
Get out of my face.
My friends, this is the sound of street thugs starting a fight at the site of Donald Trump's sidewalk star. Again, this is the liberal intelligentsia. The left is against free speech, the left is against security and safety, and the left is against you keeping your own money.
The one that has existed for about 15 minutes.
So in other words, the liberals, on top of everything else, on top of wanting more crime and higher taxes, they're also hypocrites. What they used to believe in, well, that won't work anymore for them, because now they've embraced the dark side, so now they want the opposite. 10 years ago, they said they wanted A, now they want Z, but they still want you to vote for them, just like you did back then, because they're going on the assumption that you are stupid enough to buy their lies. So, folks, here's my question. We're about to hit a break, so I want you to think about this question while we're gone. The Democrats believe you're stupid enough to swallow their lies. My question is, are you? Are you?
No one has seen God to be right. The only thing about the Son is in the bosom of the Father. He has declared him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 15. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure and different. Houses, favor, and effect of his country, liberty, and peace shall not be left. And no part shall be weak of probable cause, supported by hope or affirmation, and particularly the fact that they can be heard as the person or thing to be seen. If the masterpiece structure and be prepared, are you confident to react to the end? Is it one thing to get all differences in the line? Therefore, the Bible encourages you to have confidence for preparation, not panic, right? The Bible is a very significant opportunity is a professional, reputable, full-service business providing quality, frequency, services of mind, and support of Christ. Go online, stop on your call, 303-781-0343. Church the Bible. Church money to compromise parents. Keep an eye on your child while shopping. Children to destroy become law. This is an opportunity for what the effective. You may have a difference in at all times. If you have anything regarding a love job, call full authority to one. This message is from American Community Partner Democrats. For residential and commercial community, call 303-263-4228.
My friends, feminist icon Germaine Greer says a lot of things I don't agree with, but I'll give her one thing. Whatever she says and whatever she believes, she tells the truth. She hasn't been a liar. Well, here she is being interviewed by the BBC saying some more truth. The fact that transgender quote-unquote women are not really women at all. That's another liberal addition to our civilization. The idea that if you disagree with them, then you have no right to speak publicly. And you've seen again and again and again, speakers, conservative speakers, have been silenced, threatened, destruction around them, because that's what liberals do. It's what Democrats do. They are the censors. If you disagree with them, then your right to speak is taken away.
And feels that he actually played.
By the way, my friends, I also believe people should, and indeed have the right, to carve up their bodies and mutilate themselves however they wish. I think they're fools, and I think there's something wrong with their heads, but do they have a right to be mutilated? Yes, they do.
What I'm saying is it doesn't make them cool. Do you feel just because it has? Yeah, but so what?
This is a question that could only come from a European. In Europe, they'll throw your ass in jail if you say something they don't like. So much for free speech there. So the BBC commentator says, you believe in free speech no matter what. Just a moment earlier, she was talking about hurting people's feelings. Well, this is how children think. You can't say that because you'll make someone feel bad. Well, welcome to Earth, where things get said all the time and different things happen to make people feel bad. It's how grown-ups live, which means it's not how liberals live.
Well, not quite. You know,
By the way, intersex is nonsense. There's no such thing as intersex. You're one or the other. And if you're a man and you get your private parts hacked off, you're still a man. My friends, this is an absolutely ridiculous question. 0.0001% of the human population has a physical abnormality like that. So in order to make her case, this BBC nitwit is bringing a freakish example that almost never ever happens. It's an extreme that she's hoping to get some leverage with.
we remove undescended testicles from.
Yeah, of course. People pumping hormones into their bloodstream every day for the rest of their lives. That's a happy outcome. Only a liberal would say something that dazzlingly stupid.
Feel that you are in a way
Don't even talk about it. So, let's be true, that's my point.
It's thought by me to be appalling. The liberals will shut you down. The liberals are always the censors and the Nazis and the fascists. That's liberalism. Say anything you want as long as you agree with me, and if you don't, we will shut you down, we'll beat you down, we'll slander you. My friends, when you vote Democrat, that's what you're supporting. That's what you're giving the thumbs up to. That's what you're buying into, and that message is dreadfully important to hear on this show because most of my listeners are from Colorado, which once again will forever carry the stain of having gone for Hillary Clinton in the presidential election. So there are an awful lot of people in the state of Colorado who need a neck-up checkup. Take a break. We'll be back, and if you disagree with me, my friends, you're free to. Of course, you're wrong, but you're free to disagree because I'm not a liberal. Stay tuned.
Because many prophets have gone into the world by the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming and is now already in the world for just for one.
No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque or reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin and tender in payment of debt, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contract, or grant any title of nobility. Article 1, Section 10.
Chaplain Collins LLC salutes our emergency first responders for their professional commitment free. They're willing to put their lives on the line for us with little or no thanks. So let's all take the time to thank our first responders for all they do for us. Also thanking our veterans for the sacrifice they made for our freedom. This message is from Chaplain Collins LLC with 2 locations in Denver and Fort Collins. Serving the community for over 13 years. Visit them online at chapelcollins.com. Total Concrete Services, the men and women of our military dedicate themselves to serving our country. Their commitment and courage keep our country safe and strong. Let us honor those who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Salute those who serve today. This reminder from Total Concrete Services at 4462 Hilltop Road in Conway. Proud to serve the entire area and to work on behalf of our future. For more information, call 970-535-4780.
Item from Reuters, Dateline, Venezuela. Across Maracaibo, the capital of Venezuela's largest state, residents unplug refrigerators to guard against power surges. Many only buy food they'll consume the same day. Others regularly sleep outside. The rolling power blackouts in the state of Zulia pile more misery on Venezuelans living under a 5th year of an economic crisis that has sparked malnutrition, hyperinflation, and mass emigration. OPEC member Venezuela's once thriving socialist economy has collapsed since the 2014 fall of oil prices. Quote, "I never thought I'd have to go through this," said bakery worker Cindy Morales, 36, her eyes welling with tears. "I don't have food. I don't have power. I don't have money. Unquote. Yes, but Cindy, my dear, you do have something that liberals here in America are jealous about, that they wish they had. What you have, Cindy, is socialism. Item from InfoWars. A University of Georgia professor was forced to apologize after congratulating a friend who happens to be a Republican candidate for governor, according to Campus Reform. Davis, dean of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at UGA, was a classmate of Georgia's GOP gubernatorial candidate Brian Kemp and called him a nice guy and kind to a fault in a congratulatory tweet following the Kemp's primary win last week. Unquote. So this professor had to apologize because he's friends with a Republican. And so now tell me, you identify with liberals, with the left, with the Democrats, who now strike fear into people because of who their friends are? People who do that are called Nazis. Are you a Nazi? Item from the Daily Wire. It isn't just Israeli firefighters fighting the blazes triggered by the incendiary kites launched by Hamas over the Israeli border. American volunteers are joining in the fight, and they aren't all Jews. The firefighters joined the Emergency Volunteer Project, which has brought medical and rescue personnel from all over the world since 2009 to aid Israel, from the huge forest fires of 2010 and 2016 to doctors and nurses helping at Ashkelon's Barzilai Hospital during Operation Protective Edge. Unquote. So all you morons out there who want to fight to defend the rights of the Palestinian people are murderers and terrorists, and they're starting forest fires using kites. By the way, here's a shout out to all the tree huggers out there. If you're an environmentalist, then you should now be against the Palestinians who are burning down forests. Isn't that right? Item from the Daily Wire. A Florida police officer passed away over the weekend from injuries he sustained after he tried to apprehend an illegal alien who allegedly shot him in the head. Unquote. My friends, if not for liberals and phony baloney politicians allowing illegals to come and stay here, this police officer would be alive. Item from the Daily Wire. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is reportedly planning on living at least another 5 years so she can remain on the court until a Democratic president is able to replace her. But some leftists are so desperate to keep the notorious RBG around, they're volunteering to donate their own internal organs just to keep her alive. My friends, if you didn't already think liberals were nutso, then this is the item for you. Go to the Daily Wire, it's there today, and read it. They want to give up their organs to keep Ruth Bader Ginsburg alive. Dear God, please kill Ruth Bader Ginsburg of natural causes today so we can lock in a secure future for our children. I'll see you tomorrow.